Hi guys, 13th of April 2018, 12:30 CET time. My name is Piotr. Welcome in our Land of Trading educational live trading room, still within the testing version, but we are getting closer and closer, and we are live. We are getting live more often. So what we are going to do today, pre-New York Open and pre-end of the week. So we will go through a few charts. But before we start, as usual, risk warning, guys, trading effects and margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investments, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. All right, guys. So let's start with euro dollar. What is important? Let's have a look first on the wider picture on the monthly chart. Yesterday, today we are fighting around the monthly open, right? Based on the weekly chart, we are fighting, or we were very close to weekly open around 2280. So in between 2320, 2280, based on this higher time frame, that looks like the bulls are trying to support this zone. What about daily chart in that case? All right. I do believe that we can agree that we are within the wide range here on the euro dollar, 2180 on the downside, and 25.70 to the upside. And right now we are within the no man's land, I would say. Let's have a look what we have, what's happened within the last few days. We are trying to build, based on the last 3 days, we are trying to build something, I would call it swing high. All right, so based on what I've mentioned before, based on monthly open, based on a weekly open, we may see, I'm not sure if it's going to happen today or maybe early next week, because of the swing high. All right, we may see the market may try to attack some stops lower towards maybe 2280, 2275 this week open, maybe even to make this lower low here, and eventually from here to try to attack higher levels. So breaking this swing high and going towards and finish the business around 2460, 2470. But for us, very important is the intraday perspective. That's what we like to do, intraday trading. In that case, we have to get back into the last week. Slowly, step by step, we've been taking stops to the downside last week, so this week we're taking out stops to the upside, right? So that's how this range trading on the euro dollar looks like. And yesterday we took out these stops. All right, we took out these stops, and for now, because of this move below 2360, 2350, right? Looks like for now this attempt to move higher might be stopped by this visible supply from last week. So that's why I've mentioned on the Twitter, and if you are following us on the Twitter, most probably you saw it. To the upside, this 2350 around post FOMC minutes low as quite important here from bear's perspective, and to the downside, because we took out those stops here, there is a possibility, as I mentioned a minute ago, that we will retest this week open. If not today, maybe next week, and we've got quite nice intraday possible demand here in correlation with this triple bottom, in correlation with the green, so bottom of the range on daily, and the possible intraday demand we were discussing during the pre-non-farm payrolls stream, right? So that's last Friday, exactly almost to the peep in case of this intraday possible demand. So for today, what I'm gonna to look during the New York session, of course, having in mind all those tensions around, right? China, Russia, internal problems. So having this all in mind, not sure, but if we are gonna to see it's still around 50 pips, maybe something around the London fix, or maybe around option expiration, I don't know. But if I'm gonna to see the move towards 23, 22, 80, 22, 75, towards this zone, towards yesterday low, right? So I might consider tiny long around this level, and at the same time I'm going to watch how market will behave on a smaller time frame in case, especially around New York Open, in case of retest 23.40, 23.50 on euro dollar. So actually I'm watching both sides for now. Okay, moving back above 23.50, moving back and close above this post FOMC minutes low, going above this level, above 23.55. That also might be the chance for longs to push euro dollar higher. We'll see. But for now, around earlier mentioned levels, I'm looking for a few pips to the downside. If we are gonna to go lower towards the weekly open, I'm gonna to look for a few pips to the upside. Dollar yen. Here is the very interesting story, and I've mentioned this last week as well. So not many changes here. In that case, we have to start at least with weekly chart to try to understand what is all about here on dollar yen. And in my opinion, to the upside, the blue line based on the weekly chart here, those broken swings, that's the key point, around 108.06, 108.20. That's the key level from both bulls and bears perspective, and that's where I think the decision is going to be made in medium term. For now, from the bulls perspective, we are fine. We are above the weekly open. We are right now above the previous week high, so not that bad. And even taking into consideration all these uncertainties, looks like at least we are gonna to look for this 108.06 to be tested, right? And within the first approach, I'm gonna to switch to the lower time frame. I'm gonna to look for shorts. I will try to fade the first initial move towards this level. To the downside, a lot of space to the downside, and still the bounce we see right now in correlation, or here in relation to the pre and after US election week. All right. Going lower. Why this 108.06 is important? First, it's important from the weekly perspective, as I've explained a second ago, but also here on a daily. The first initial move was explained by by the end of the financial year in Japan, right? I do prefer the explanation that here simply we've had a demand based on the chart, right? But 1-to-1, and as you can see here, this 108.06 coming into play again on daily. We took out some stops here. The next possible pool of stops closer to 107.80, 107.90, and based on these stops, I do expect the rally toward 108.05, 10, where I'm gonna to look, as I mentioned, to fade this initial rally, right? Based on the intraday chart, again, if you follow our Twitter yesterday, because of this here, I've been trying to look for longs, but then suddenly this news related to Syria, or maybe it was related to new tariffs in China. I really don't remember right now. Too many cases here, but anyway. Really, I've been scared a bit, so I closed almost immediately with 2 or 3 pips in a red, but looks like idea was quite okay, right? Then Asia survived all those bad news, and we are higher right now, and looks like the way towards earlier mentioned levels, the way is open here, right? In case you wanna look for intraday long opportunities, the move above here from that zone looks like we have a possibility to find the support or intraday demand around 107.35, 107.30, all right? And it may looks like this. We are too close right now to 108.06, so for me, I'm gonna skip any longs, at least for now, and I'm gonna to look to fade eventually the rally towards 108.06. Next is a gold, and here is very interesting situation, and again we have to go higher, we have to have the wider picture. We were discussing 1338, 1332, quite important from the bulls perspective, and again because of all those uncertainties, we are trying to go higher, and suddenly after I would say a bit hawkish FOMC minutes than yesterday, because of this dollar demand, there was some kind of the rejection on gold, and looks like really bulls got huge problem above 1337. Every time within the last few weeks we were trying to go higher, there was a rejection. Again, on daily, stop counting, at least looks for now like stop counting. Yesterday we closed below this candle, so here very interesting from the end of the week perspective, because yesterday we stopped right at weekly open, and on intraday chart it looks even better because we stopped right within the possible intraday demand, right under the weekly open, right? So here you have it. Okay. Now, as this kind of the bounce was expected, I would like to see what's going to happen after the New York Open, because there are a few possibilities, right? Because of this stops here, because we stopped falling around the weekly open, right? I took into the consideration what happened before, right? So after the move to the downside here, we had this kind of the move to the upside, and I took it and I put it here, and looks like we may see this kind of the rally, especially because of this pre-weekend uncertainty. Market may try to beat the gold a bit, and we may see the rally, but then if nothing's gonna happen over the weekend, then simply we may see another sell-off, especially that this kind of the move we've had before FOMC minutes here, that looks for me for now, at least for now, I don't know, I can't move the market, so I'm trying to, based on what I can see to the left side, I'm trying to read this, and because of what happened after that, after this stop hunt here. So for now, if we are gonna to make similar move here, so looks like we are gonna to have a possibility to retest the supply we've seen to the left. Overall, we are within the range, so I would expect that if nothing gonna happen, if we are gonna to have quiet weekend, then rally towards 1350, 1355, that might be good excuse to try to take the advantage of the short side, right? Going lower to current level, there is also a very interesting situation right now, because the bounce from here isn't that great as few would expect, right? So in that case, what may happen, because of this yellow zone here, it was very important previously. Look, it might happen something like this. That was the, after this stop hunting, that was the initial bounce based on the previous high here, right? And the size of this is very similar to what we've seen in terms of this bounce on the first bounce, right? And 1-to-1 is giving us ideally the move towards the yellow zone. And if we are gonna to take into the consideration this demand which pushed us higher, right, and during the move to the downside bulls were not able to use that level, all right, so in that case it might be that once we are gonna to at New York Open we are gonna to retest this 1344 level, we may see initial sell-off from here, right? So we may use as a good excuse these levels. That's what we've seen before. We may try to activate this kind of the supply visible here previously, right? So that might be the case for early New York. The only thing is that would be smart to go to the lower time frame to try to narrow the distance between the open and the stop, to try to have at least 3R in place. And what we are gonna to target from here, we are gonna to target weekly open, right? So those these lows from yesterday. In that case, I'm pretty sure those or these R's are gonna be in our favor on gold here. And the last one is a crude. I'm not gonna discuss indices today because I have no clue what those guys wanna do. Okay, oil. We are above previous high, so the 66.50 is working currently is working as a support. But there is an interesting possibilities based on intraday chart, because on the daily this line, green line here, there is a possible next target which is something around 68 or a little above 68. And of course it's all about this US, Syria, Russia things, and Iran as well, so that's the good excuse to push it even higher. But in case here right now, before the New York Open, in case that's gonna be only some kind of the stop hunting and we are gonna to see the rejection here, right, because of this pullback yesterday, all right, we were working with this possible buy orders. So that's, in my opinion, all right, good pull in terms of the stops. So in that case, if at some point, of course, that should be strong rejection here. In case we are gonna do something like this, I may think about the short because of this supply here from the left side. So in case of trying to recover a bit, that might be opportunity. But there is a very important thing. The pro oil traders are saying don't try to short the oil on Friday. So in that case, I would rather wait to see what's going to happen at very early next week, around Monday. And if all these tensions are eased, the EA and API from this week actually were in favor of bears. So at some point, that might be quite a good excuse to take at least some profits. And to the downside for next week, if we are going to see move to the downside, then levels around 64, 63.50, that might be quite good buying opportunity from intraday perspective. Guys, in terms of the market, in terms of the FX, oil and gold, that's it from me. Later today or the latest tomorrow morning, also I'm gonna try to make a live stream related to crypto. It's hot mainstream right now, right? So and also because because some of you know that I'm a fan, so we will have a chance to meet again. And then Sunday we will try to make the same as last week. We'll try to make the pre-market open. So yeah, as we discussed last week, we are trying to be more active and we are gonna be live much more often. Guys, that's it from me for now. If we are not gonna meet over the weekend, I wish you pleasant weekend, right? We need to take the rest and be ready for next week. And based on the calendar, it looks like it might be very, very interesting. That's it for me. Take care. Don't be trapped later today. See you around.